All right, in this video, we've got to talk about the top 5 mistakes that beginners make in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. It's okay. We've all made them. We've all been there. And this is to help you identify them so that you don't repeat those because your Jiu Jitsu will get a lot better if you can avoid these 5 mistakes. Let's get into it right now. All right, in no particular order, the number one mistake beginners make in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is not breathing properly. Now, there are 2 extremes we see when it comes to beginners in jiu-jitsu. One is to simply not breathe, and the other is this hyperventilation of breathing, right? And so what we want is to train ourselves to be in the middle. And this is just as important, I would say equally as important as the skills you're going to learn from techniques, sweeps, submissions, defenses. All that's great, great. But if we don't learn to breathe properly, it doesn't matter what rank we get. We're going to get tired so fast and our skill level will deplete much quicker than we want in a given round. So we need to train ourselves to breathe properly. We often find ourselves watching new people at the gym. We're excited. We're helping them. And we're like, if they're on that first extreme, like not breathe, it's like, hey, breathe. Like, it's okay. Breathe. Don't hold your breath. Breathe. Okay. The other is the hyperventilation, right? And I get it. It's exhausting. I played college sports and nothing can compare to what it's like to grapple with someone. So I get it. And that's your body's kind of natural tendency is just to hyperventilate. You get so exhausted. But the odd thing is you're making yourself more tired and you're not giving your body the proper energy it needs through improper breathing. So we want to train how to breathe properly. Now, that's a deep dive in and of itself. I'm no expert. I'm just here to tell you guys that there are 2 extremes. You don't want to be in one of those ditches. You want to find the middle ground. You want to train and learn how to breathe. I would encourage you to look up some resources from Hickson Gracie, who is the expert on breathing techniques as it pertains to jiu-jitsu. He has set the pace and the example for what it looks like to breathe properly. So check him out. You'll find a lot of techniques and a lot of skills that will help you. But my point is, don't find yourself just chasing the techniques. Also chase the skill of breathing because it will benefit your jiu-jitsu. All right, the number 2 mistake that we see beginners make often is gripping too tight. We've all been there, right? I did this, and it's just so easy to do because you do understand you're fighting for your life. If you remember that first roll or you've only been training a month or two, when it's time to go, it's like, all right, somebody's trying to choke me, they're trying to break my arm. I mean, there's a respect, right? We're going to tap, but you understand that this is a real fight without the striking. So it's intense, and so we have this tendency to just grab hold and just hang on for dear life. Obviously, this tendency is more seen in gi jiu-jitsu than it is no-gi, but there's still ways in no-gi you can try to hold on for life. So learning to not like to relax a little bit as you advance in the ranks, one thing you're going to notice is if you do have a sleeve grip and someone goes to rip that arm back, are you going to really hang on to that? My advice, just let it go and move on to something else. So learning to grip with just a little bit of strength is actually just as effective as gripping with all your might. So there are ways in which you can grip that are just as effective. So again, like breathing, we want to learn how to grip without using all our strength and also learning when to let go, learning how to grip, learning where to grip, learning when to let go. These are all skills you also want to develop as you move up through the ranks. So be thinking about grips. Am I holding on too tight? Are your forearms just absolutely depleted after a 5-minute round? If so, we've got to correct that and get a little better at our grips. All right, the number 3 common mistake I see in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu among beginners is always rolling to win. Listen, I get it. As we just talked about, you're fighting for your life in so many ways. It feels like that. So it's like, I got to win. Well, here's the problem. In the beginning, you are going to be in a lot of bad positions. So just get used to it. It's okay. I remember I spent the first 6 months of my jiu-jitsu with a blue belt, purple belt, I think 2 brown belts. So I just spent the first 6 months in bad positions. And you know what? I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was the best thing for me because it taught me that I can't always roll to win. In some ways, I do have to roll to learn. I do have to learn and think about the positions I'm in and control my breathing and think about my grips and just, it's okay. So don't always roll to win because if you do, you're going to find yourself very frustrated because what I'm trying to communicate is you're not going to win a whole lot in the beginning. So if your goal is to roll to win, you're just going to spend a whole lot of time frustrated. So let's dive to that, change our perspective, and it's going to help you actually learn and progress in jiu-jitsu. All right, the number 4 common mistake we see in jiu-jitsu is panicking in bad positions. as we've already established, you're going to find yourself in bad positions, so don't panic. And I know, like, someone gets you in mount, especially if they start putting pressure on you, covering your face, you're starting to feel a little claustrophobic. It's easy to want to panic, right? We have to learn how to calm down and relax in those situations. You're like, relax? Do they have my back and they're trying to choke me? You want me to relax? Well, to a degree, yes. Like, we do have a sense of urgency to deal with the problem, but the way we deal with it matters. And panic is not going to help you. So, learning to relax, again, you can't learn this in a day, but I do want you to think about when you're learning jujitsu, again, not just about the techniques, right? There's a mental perspective shift when you're in that bad position. What is your response? Well, yes, the goal is to get out. I'm communicating that the best way to get out is to relax and think about strategically what you need to do next. Panic, you're probably going to make the wrong decision or do the right move at the wrong time, usually leads to nothing good. So let's acknowledge that, admit it, and that way we can actually get out of some of these bad positions. All right, the number 5 common mistake we see is not knowing how or when to tap. Part of it is you sometimes know that that's a real choke or a real arm bar, and you just are like too stubborn and too prideful to let it go, and you tap too late. Now you're injured, and now you can't train for a month, right? So we have to know that. There's also another side of it, though, that where you're in a position where you don't understand, and your body, like, you think maybe this is like, I don't know if I should tap to this or not, in which you should tap. If you ever question it, just tap, right? In fact, you can even ask your training partner as soon as you tap, hey, you got me, great job. Now, hey, I've never been in that position before. Like, what was that? Like, can you help me? Was I in danger? What? It's okay. Like, but if you're in a position which you don't understand and you are a little curious, what, I don't know if I should tap, just go ahead and tap, right? Because the goal is to keep training. You don't want to be in the situation where, like, I'm gonna see how this works out, and the next thing you know, you're hurt and you didn't tap, and that's just bad for everybody, right? So you have to tap. If it's a position that's obvious to you, like a rear naked choke, arm bar, ankle locks, things like this, don't be too prideful. Don't be too stubborn. Don't let pride get the best of you. Remember, jiu-jitsu is the ultimate humble pie, and it serves it up on a daily basis, regardless of what rank you are. So embrace it and learn to tap early and tap often. 3 quick tips on how to tap out. Clearly, you can use your hand, but also keep in mind you can use your foot. I've been in positions where both of my hands are tied up, and now what can I do? Well, you've got a foot. You can start stomping on, slap the mat with the foot a couple times. That'll get their attention. And if all else fails, you have a verbal tap, and you can just, and I've been in this position too. I'm so tangled up. My opponent has so dominated me. I got tap, tap, tap. It's over, right? Like, you've got that too. So you've got those 3 things, and be sure when you tap firm, let them know, assertive, like, hey, you got me, right? Don't give this prideful, like, I guess I'm going to give in. Just admit it, move on, right? Great job. Because the goal, we want to keep training. And if you don't tap early enough and you don't know how to tap or you don't know when to tap, you're going to find yourself hurt and frustrated. But that, I hate to tell you, is on you. So let's be responsible. Let's know how and when to tap, because that will keep you training, which in turn will help you enjoy and get better at jiu-jitsu. All right, those are 5 common mistakes that I have seen and we have seen at our gym. How about you guys? I'd love to hear from you. What are other mistakes that you have seen beginners make? What are mistakes you've seen high ranks make? I'm curious, which of those tend to, because whatever pattern we have early on tends to continue. I'm still working on my breathing, fair point. So at brown belt, I'm still trying to develop that, right? We're always trying to develop these things. Some we should graduate pretty quickly from. The how and when to tap, let's get that knocked out at white belt, right? But there's others that we can struggle with. So what is it for you? I'm curious. Comment below. Let me know what some common mistakes you see and ways that you've learned to fix them. Until next time, guys, train on.